to all of you, and it's an honor to share with all of you this space of reflection. We are going to start in very, very soon an inner journey, and I want to thank the people who have really made this possible. Maria Benjumea, her extraordinary team, who has poured so much heart and so much head in this event. There is something that I don't know if we are really aware, that we live in a mental prison. Most people are unaware that we are a slave of our minds. And how do we know that our minds are slaving us, that we are living in a mental prison? Because of the uneasiness in which we live, no matter how much we have, no matter how much we reach. Sometimes when we get up in the morning and we feel deep in our guts, that uneasiness, that inner turmoil, that lack of inner peace, this is a sign that we are living in a mental prison. Many people go to the past to regret what they did or what they didn't do and feel guilty and even ashamed because of that. And they find absolutely impossible to forgive themselves or forgive other people. This is another sign that we are living in a mental prison. There are a lot of people who feel absolutely hopeless, helpless, and worthless in front of a challenge. And this is another sign that we are living in a mental prison. But we have gotten used to live in this way. So I would like to ask you a question. Do you think that these resentments, these inner turmoils, these regrets about what we did or we didn't do, this worry about what will happen in the future, has any impact in our health, in our prosperity, in our sense of well-being, and in our happiness? You know, it's easy to see that there's a connection between how our mind works and what happens in the body. Now we know that this is true even at a molecular level. Most of the diseases have at the root a high level of anxiety, which is affecting the DNA, is affecting the chromosomes, is allowing some genes to express, is preventing other genes to express. So after we have asked this question, we keep our journey trying to find some answers. Not trying to find the answer, trying to find some answers. And current research shows quite clearly that some sages and wise people from the past in human history were right when they said that we have to discipline our minds, that there is something in our minds which is crooked, which doesn't work properly. And from the field of neurosciences, we know that there is a network in the brain called the default network, which is associated with this mental prison. This network does something very well, is very proficient in what this network does. It takes us to the past. We visit the past. Why? To see what we did wrong, to regret for what we did or we didn't do, and we feel ourselves with a sense of guilt and a sense of shame. We feel ourselves with resentments. And this network also does something very proficiently. It takes us forward into the future. We visit the future and we see all reasons to worry about. The default network has been associated with diseases, with lack of effectiveness, of uneasiness, of lack of clarity, of lack of determination at the time of making some decisions and taking some actions. In the field of neurosciences, there is a sentence which is, I think, very true. A wandering mind is an unhappy mind. I would add, a wandering mind is an unhealthy mind. Fortunately enough, those same sages, those same wise people from the past, and even from the present, discovered that there is a cure for this disease. There is something that we can do to take back our minds to a place of effectiveness, of health, of well-being and happiness. What they found was a cure for this disease. The thing or the challenge is that the cure that they found is quite counterintuitive, because it looks to be too simple to be effective, too simple to be true. What they discovered was that if we learn to take our focus back to our present, to stay in the now, we become much more powerful, which means our body becomes healthier, our minds get more clarity, our decisions are much better, we interact with each other, creating really emotional bonds based on love. And it's fascinating that these people really intuitively discovered that there was something that could be done. Now, the research in the field of neurosciences has discovered another network. It's called the Central Executive Network. When we go back to the present, when we stay in the moment, this network in the brain takes over and it shuts down the default network. And we become more active, we become more present, we interact in a much more effective way, we make better decisions, we understand things deeply, and we start to discover some things about ourselves which can take our life to the next level. Imagine that we are in front of a pond. The water is clear, but we cannot see what's at the bottom because there is a wind blowing, and that wind is stirring up the water, so we cannot see what is at the bottom. When we learn to come back to the present, when we start to focus on the now, that water starts to become still. And we can look beyond the surface at the bottom, and we can see two things. First, our hidden potential. Second, all our burdens, all the dead weights that we're carrying beyond our awareness that are causing a lot of suffering for us. So whenever you involve in anything in life, when you are speaking with a friend, with a colleague, with a client, stay there. Don't go to the past, don't go to the future. When you are doing something, don't be looking at a screen at the same time. Be on the present. If you keep training over and over this simple method, you will start to feel that you perceive life under a different light. And I will end up with some words those words have really driven my life for many, many years. The truth will set us free. Thank you so much. Thank you.